A life-saving experiment, the first documented blood transfusion. In 1667, a pioneering experiment in medicine took place that would change the course of healthcare forever. The story begins in Paris, France, with a young man named Jean-Baptiste Denis, a physician who was eager to explore the possibilities of blood transfusion. While much of medicine at the time was steeped in superstition and primitive practices, Denis was among a small cohort of forward-thinking doctors ready to embrace experimental science. The patient, a nobleman in distress. Denis was summoned to treat a patient named Monsieur de Villeneuve, a nobleman who had suffered severe blood loss due to an accident. The current medical understanding of healing was rudimentary, and blood loss often led to death. In a bid to save the nobleman's life, Denis devised a bold plan. He would attempt to transfuse blood directly from another animal to de Villeneuve. The experiment. On June 15, 1667, Denis prepared for the unprecedented procedure. He chose a sheep as the donor, reasoning that animal blood could rejuvenate the life of his ailing patient. At that time, animal-to-human transfusions were thought to be possible, although the concept of blood types was unknown. The procedure took place in a small room filled with medical instruments. As Denis carefully connected the sheep's blood to a tube that would transfer it into de Villeneuve, a palpable tension filled the air. After several anxious moments, the transfusion started, and the nobleman received the first documented blood transfusion in history. The outcome. Remarkably, Monsieur de Villeneuve initially appeared to recover after the transfusion. He regained some strength and color, suggesting that the blood had a positive effect. Denis and his peers celebrated this medical triumph, marking it as a significant step forward in understanding human physiology. However, the euphoria was short-lived. A few days after the procedure, de Villeneuve began to exhibit serious adverse reactions. He experienced fever, agitation, and eventually fell into a state of delirium. Tragically, shortly afterward, he succumbed to unknown complications. The aftermath and continued trials. While the transfusion could have been seen as a failure due to the nobleman's subsequent death, it opened the door to further research in blood transfusions. Denis continued his experiments, transfusing blood from animals to humans a few more times, with various outcomes, and his work inspired others to explore the field. In 1674, another physician, Richard Lower in England, made significant contributions by successfully transfusing blood between animals, refining techniques, and gaining better insights into the blood transfusion process. It became clear that the mixing of certain blood types resulted in adverse reactions, laying the groundwork for the understanding of blood compatibility. The birth of modern transfusion medicine. The study of blood transfusion continued into the 19th century, with the advent of new discoveries, such as the identification of blood types by Karl Landsteiner in the early 1900s. This discovery revolutionized transfusion practices, making them much safer by understanding that only compatible blood types could be mixed. By the early 20th century, blood transfusions had evolved from Denis's bold experiment into a widely accepted medical practice. The development of anticoagulants, blood banks, and storage techniques further improved the safety and effectiveness of transfusions. The early blood transfusions, although primitive and fraught with complications, laid the foundations for a critical aspect of modern medicine. Today, blood transfusions save millions of lives worldwide, with procedures carried out safely every day in hospitals and clinics.